Welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Ross Benjamin. I'm joined by SBR contributor Doug Upstone as well. We'll be discussing American League futures odds on today's video. Let's get right to it. Doug, first of all, how are you doing out there in Arizona?
Oh, Ross, it's unbelievable. With spring training, the pitchers and catchers have reported. The rest of the players, a lot of them are here already. I'm anxious to start going to games relatively soon here, in a couple weeks, and get this whole thing going.
Let's get right into the meat and potatoes. Doug, your best AL futures values as you see it as of this moment.
I think there's a lot of things that will change between now and as we get towards the end of spring training. But, in terms of looking at a couple of the different teams that, that stand out to me, I still like the Angels, that's easy to do because they were they won the most games in baseball last year. I think their team is still complete. I think their pitching will ultimately be a little bit better. I think their bullpen has improved. They do have some, a couple of potential holes in the batting order. I mean, Albert Pujols has diminishing talents, and Josh Hamilton probably won't be back for a while, and David Freese certainly didn't do a lot. But I still think this team, is a really good shot to be a very good team and could win the American League, which they should have done realistically last year. Now, other teams that I do like too, Ross, I like Seattle. I think Seattle made some good improvements, adding Nelson Cruz and Austin Jackson. I think that they have the potential to run with the Angels in this case. So I think there's another team that's out there. So those are two teams that really, in terms of the top echelon, that really I like. Now, what about you, Ross?
Well, you know what? I like the Boston Red Sox, Doug. I mean, it's that odd year thing for them. Every other year, they seem to put everything together, and last year coming off a terrible season. But if you look at their top 6 hitters in the lineup, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a top 6 in the American League like Shane Victorino, Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz, Hanley Ramirez, Pablo Sandoval coming over from the Giants, and Mike Napoli. And then, of course, if you get this Cuban refugee, Rusney Castillo, who really shone brightly last September, they could really be a formidable lineup. So I like Boston at 8-1. I think you're getting a lot of value here. I do agree with you a bit on the Angels. I like their top 3 in a rotation. Not convinced on their bullpen. And the concerns that you alluded to are the same concerns that I have. The other team that I think a lot of people tend to forget, the Kansas City Royals. Unless you thought last year was a fluke, which I don't, at 14-1, I think they're a superb value. I mean, you're looking at a team that has a plethora of speed throughout the lineup. Their pitching staff showed us what they're made of, right, Doug, last year during the postseason. And also, if you look at the acquisition of Alex Rios in the offseason from Texas, it gives them a little boost of power. Now, let me ask you a question. Who do you like not to bet on? Who would you steer away from? Who would you tell the viewers don't waste your money on?
Well, there's 2 teams that come to mind, and you know what? I got a feeling, Ross, you're going to be on the same page with me on this one. The Oakland A's and the New York Yankees. The Oakland, there's been too much turnover on that roster, and there was nothing to replenish it with, at least certainly in terms of what I would call really good quality. They made a decision to take a run at it last year. It didn't happen. They cut the payroll. They're starting over again, and, look for Billy Beane to have a good team again, maybe in a couple of years. And the New York Yankees, George Steinbrenner must be wondering what his sons are doing, because I certainly am. I mean, here's, Boston, Toronto, the teams in the division. They made significant, changes to their roster and improvement. And what the Yankees do? Pretty much nothing. And then we got CC Sabathia weighing in at a whopping 305 pounds, okay, to come into spring training. Now, sure, he'll get into shape, but with a guy at his age, with all the workload he's had, should he be at that weight? I don't think so. And so from that being the case, I think the Yankees and Oakland are in tough shape. What do you think, Ross?
I echo your same sentiments, so I won't waste the viewers' time. My 2 teams that I consider to be overvalued, the New York Yankees at 15-1, the Oakland A's at 18-1. I think that we're looking at bottom half division players here in each case. And let me ask you one simple other question. Divisional futures. I know we hadn't discussed this off air. Do you have 3 divisional picks for the viewers?
Yes, I do. I would go in the American League. In the East, I'm going to go with Toronto. I know you like Boston, and I don't have anything against them, but I think Toronto is poised to make a run at them. And I'm just not sure Boston can go from 71 wins up to, let's just say, essentially around 90. Not sure that can happen. In the American League, I think you're still Central. You still have to like Detroit, but watch out for the Cleveland Indians. I'm very curious to see what they do this spring, and that might be a sleeper play for me. I still like the Angels in a very tight contest with Seattle. On to you, Ross. What do you think?
I like Boston, obviously, in the AL East. I can't disagree with your take on the Toronto Blue Jays. My only question there is their starting pitching rotation. I love their lineup. No two ways about it. In the Central, as I alluded to, I love the Kansas City Royals at plus 450. I think, as you put it, they're poised to overtake the Detroit Tigers and be the top team in the AL Central. And I do agree with you on the Los Angeles Angels at plus 160. Doug, thank you for coming aboard today. Really appreciate it. Look forward to working with you in the future. For all of you out there, I'm Ross Benjamin, and for Doug Upstone, thank you for watching SBR Videos.